You're listening to the Out of Bounds Show podcast, presented by Independent Roofing Systems. If you want it done right the first time, visit Independent Roofing Systems today.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
It's all coming back!
From the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the BankPlus Studio.
And there it comes again.
Mississippi's #1 sports talk show. The Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming worldwide live on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio. At ESPN 105.9.
What is that?
What is that?
The Zone.
And we're off on a game day. Good morning. Welcome in. Out of Bounds, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Yes, you're excited. I'm excited. Ole Miss and Auburn, Mississippi State hosting Big Blue Nation and the Kentucky Wildcats. Hope you're doing well. The show is brought to you by the Porterhouse, Bacon Wrapped Shrimp, and Four Roses Bourbon at Kessler Prime in the Renaissance. Visit KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. We're streaming live on the Zone, 1059.com. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. We'd love for you to download that. Thank you for hitting Apple Podcast and searching the Out of Bounds show. It's very easy. Apple Podcast, search the Out of Bounds show. Thank you so much for going back, listening to an hour, a segment, or whatever. Sometimes it's on onion rings. Sometimes it's on, the air raid and Mike Leach, or the modern Baylor offense that Lane Kiffin is running at Ole Miss. And we're excited about tonight and this weekend. The Braves lost last night to the Astros. That's okay. Series is 1-1. They'll take a day off. They'll play 3 in Atlanta, and we'll see where it goes from there. Hopefully the Braves can grab a World Series championship. Last night did not go well, but it happens. It happens for sure. Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line is 601-995-1059. Twitter handle at BoBounds. And then the Ag Up Equipment, Mississippi Ag, now Ag Up Equipment. Ag Up Equipment text line is 601-885-3776. And you got to manage your land with the John Deere tractor from Ag Up Equipment. 16 locations, 2 more coming to make it 18. Of course, the 2 in the metro area, Canton and Pearl. You can visit agup.com. That's agup.com to see and find the retail location nearest you, and one of their sales reps will be happy to take care of you if you're looking at a John Deere tractor, John Deere lawnmower, or John Deere Gator. So I threw out the book that I'm almost finished with, The Perfect Pass by S.C. Quinn, and it's on Leach and Mummy and Lavelle Edwards and Air Coryell and all these crazy people. Norm Chow, who Lane Kiffin coached under at Southern Cal. Norm Chow was Lavelle Edwards' OC guru type deal. Of course, Norm Chow took the job at Southern Cal when Pete Carroll took that job as the head coach, and they were fantastic for several years, right? And what they were doing with Carson Palmer and Matt Leinart and so on. But if you're looking for a good read, you want to know a little bit more about Leach and the air raid and the history and the story. Swing Your Sword is good. This is even better. I didn't think that would be the case. But the book, The Perfect Pass by S.C. Quinn, is even better. We mentioned Steve Palazzolo at 8:30, Dave Bartu at 9:30. That'll be Show Me the Money, powered by the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook. I'm about to tweet out the our logo for Show Me the Money. Excited about that. And it is something that we will continue to incorporate into the show. And we've kind of created it. It's its own podcast, which is a lot of fun too. That's what people need to be doing. And Y'all been hitting it since last September when we rolled it out. Now we've got a logo. Looks good. It's going to be great. Whether we're talking to Dave Bartu or Lee Sterling or whatever, it's a great way to incorporate fun stuff, not just sports betting, but a lot of sports betting into the show. Show Me the Money, as Blake and I have been talking about, can be used for several different things, not just sports betting. I want to keep – go ahead,
I was
Blake.
going to say, can I show you some money in this? I was looking at some betting numbers for Kentucky State and Ole Miss Auburn. How about this? In the last three, between Mississippi State and Kentucky, the under has hit all 3 times, and in the last 10, it's hit 7 times.
Hold on. You said that too quick. Go ahead. Say it again.
The over-under in Mississippi State, Kentucky, in their last 3 head-to-head, they've hit the under all 3 times. And in their last 10 head-to-head, the under has hit 7 times.
Dang.
Low-scoring ball game between Kentucky and Mississippi State. That line right now, over-under, is set at 47. That is low.
It is low, but Blake, I mean, it could be a struggle to get to 21 or 24.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. When even Auburn Ole Miss is low for Ole Miss standards, it's at 66.
Yeah. It may be first one to 21 or 24
in Starkville this weekend.
Saturday night in Starkville.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see what Bartu, gives us as far as some of the nerdy numbers that he'll go through with Leach and Mark Stoops. But same thing with Kiffin and Harsin and Auburn. Now, you make a good point, man. Auburn's got some guys. They're not great on defense, but they're good, especially this day and age. We can't really compare it to when I was growing up. And again, like we mentioned earlier, when everybody was running the ball in cramped spaces in the middle of the field. I mean, it's just a different deal when your middle linebacker was getting 26 tackles, but he ran a 5.4 40. But he was a thumper. Interesting. Are you leaning towards the under in the Auburn Ole Miss?
I would think so. It's one of those things where we don't necessarily trust Ole Miss's defense against elite offenses, but Auburn doesn't have an elite offense, and I trust Derek Mason more than I trust most of the defenses that Ole Miss has faced up to this point, especially with the talent he's now working with, relative to what he had at Stanford and Vanderbilt. So, I 66. I see that could be easily underneath that because I think it will be I think we get to the fourth quarter with a ball game on our hands. I don't see either team running away,
31-30, you're still under, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, are you telling me both teams are scoring 35?
34-30, 34-31 Ole Miss wins or Auburn wins. You're still under. Okay.
So, yeah, I'm with you. I think it will be difficult for both teams to put up enough points to break that 66, especially with if Ole Miss's defense can play as soundly as they did against LSU, and I think Auburn's offense is better than LSU's, then even if they give up a few more points, I don't think it will be something where you're looking at a 40-35 game in the fourth quarter,
All right. Is there another game out there that piques your interest this weekend?
The Jefferson Pilot game of the week, Missouri Vanderbilt.
Oh. That was painful enough watching Miss Vanderbilt last weekend.
Watch a worse team play Vanderbilt.
and MSU was actually scoring, but there was something about it. Was just it just wasn't. It was a tough watch.
Games in Nashville look like Big Ten games.
They do. So that is your Jefferson Pilot game of the week, Missouri at Vanderbilt.
That's right.
3-4 against 2-6.
Both these are two teams in Power 5 play, 2 of just 5 teams who have yet to beat another Power 5 opponent. So something has to give Saturday.
That's strong. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by Sellers Wine and Spirits on Russell Street in the Cotton District. Pick up your game day goodies at Sellers Wine and Spirits. Also a shout-out, the wings and the street tacos at Two Brothers in Starkville. We're rolling on a Thursday. Palazzolo at 8:30 on Dak and Mahomes. You can order award-winning Jonesy Q rubs and sauces at jonesyq.com. Use promo code OOBSHOW if you order $20 or more and receive free shipping. That's jonesyq.com. Promo code OOBSHOW. Good morning. Welcome in. Steve Palazzolo coming up at 8:30 on Dak and Mahomes. NFL QBs, baby. Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus, senior analyst. Of course, he does this show, Colin Cowherd show, Dan Patrick show, so you know how we are. Dave Bartu will stop by at 9:30 with The Matrix. He actually came up with it first before people ripped him off. That's talent, location, coaching effect. Dave Bartu will be on at 9:30. Show Me the Money. Our guest will join us on the Bell's Two-Hearted Ale guest line. Bell's Two-Hearted Ale is a delicious craft beer. It's an American IPA. You'll love it. It goes great. Now, it's got some body with it, all right? Bell's Two-Hearted Ale goes great with the steak. Big bowl of red beans and rice. Maybe you're doing some kind of seafood pasta or chicken and andouille sausage pasta for game day. Want you to try it. We want your feedback. Bell, B-E-L-L, apostrophe S, Bell's Two-Hearted Ale, all right? And it has been ranked the number one beer by the American Homebrewers Association 4 years in a row. And it's a big boy beer. We did a little tasting yesterday. Salad Mookie's in Madison has it on tap. And hey, grab you a slice of pepperoni pizza or load it up with all the meats. You'll love it. Or a plate of wings. I ordered the wings for lunch yesterday because once Blake and I started talking about it, I was like, I got to have them. I do want to let you know on Salad Mookie's in Madison that they have the pizza slice special with the salad, and these are big slices of pizza. And these are New York-style pizzas, pieces of pizza and pizzas. It's Salad Mookie's in Madison. It's in between Kroger and Home Depot, and it is a quick, fast, perfect for workday lunch, and it'll fill you up. You can get 2 slices. But 1 slice and a half of Caesar, and that Caesar dressing with those croutons are amazing. Patrick and them are doing a great job. Please put Salad Mookie's in Madison on your lunch rotation. Again, pizza specials Tuesday through Friday. They are not open on Monday, but they're open Tuesday through Sunday with New York-style pizza slice specials Tuesday through Friday. Salad Mookie's in Madison, Colony Crossing, right there in between Kroger at Home Depot. All right, Vegas thinks that our 4 teams this weekend are evenly matched. You know that, I know that. You look at where the line started, where it's going. You could argue at times during the week. Well, you couldn't argue. At times during the week, it's been a pick 'em. Some of you may be looking at the money line. I think more of you are looking at the over-under on Ole Miss and Auburn and Kentucky at Mississippi State. I can't wait. It's 2 night games. That's the only bad thing is they play at the same time. But other than that, it should be a ton of fun. All right? Now, let's switch gears. I was on Jackson, Birmingham, and people can't believe, Blake, that I actually commented on where Lane Kiffin could go.
I know. Shocker.
I mean, I don't know why. We only talked about Dan Mullen for 9 years. Yes, if Lane Kiffin is offered the LSU job, I believe he'll take it. I mean, is that earth-shattering news?
How about this, Bo? Did you see
I mean, where have I been? If Lane Kiffin is offered the LSU – Lane Kiffin is a 10 times better coach than Ed Ogeron and Les Miles. And he's not dumb. He's been able to see what they were doing at LSU. If he's offered the gig, I think he's going. That upsets you? Oh, well. If he's not offered the job, looks like, and other jobs maybe that he could be interested in, he'll be back at Ole Miss. It's that simple. Look, guys, whether it's Leach, Kiffin, any of them, the next 2 or 3 head coaches you're going to have, they just put on the pullover and get a paycheck. And they're super competitive, and they want to win while they're there. I hate to tell you. I mean, unless you're going to hire Eli and Dak, who actually played there, and have this amazing love and affection for the university like you do and I do, because you spent years there, made friends, dated girls, went to happy hour, had road trips together and all that. Now you go back and you tailgate and you hug people and love people and see people that you don't get to see all the time maybe. But, dude, they're just putting on a cool pullover this weekend and coaching your team. Just like they did at Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Southern Cal, Alabama for Kiffin, or wherever. Blake, go ahead.
I was going to say you're right, because I think we as fans definitely get into a place where we assume everyone loves our team the way we love our team. But
sure,
like you said, I mean, Kiffin has coached at Southern Cal, he's coached at Alabama, and now he's been a head coach not only for the Ole Miss Rebels but the Oakland Raiders, right? I mean, that if you think for a second that he's not looking for the next big spot, I just think that's naive, right? I mean, it's the same thing.
Oh, obviously.
Same thing with Dan Mullen when he was having success in Starkville. Same thing with most coaches, because State and Ole Miss are great jobs, but there's still 20-ish jobs ahead of them, right?
Right.
At worst.
Right.
So, I think what would be frustrating for Ole Miss fans is not feeling like you got the most out of Kiffin in terms of longevity. But this season, I mean, if you finish this season at 10-2, 11-1, 9-3, and he leaves, I mean, you did get as good a return on your investment in a 2-year window as you could possibly hope for.
Sure. No doubt. So we'll see. It'll all play out, and it's going to be fun. LSU is open. Southern Cal is open. Texas Tech is open. There's chatter that Virginia Tech will become open. I mean, Lane's not going there.
But the
Miami,
the dominoes that fall are always the interesting pieces.
That's right.
Like what job opens that's not currently open because that coach is poached by another job that is open.
Right. So, do I have any faith or confidence in Southern Cal? Not really. The super duper whoopee safe hire is Luke Fickell. They won't care at all. None of them out in L.A. know who Luke Fickell is. They'll see that he looks like Adam Sandler, and other than that, they'll move on to the Lakers, Rams, or Chargers, or Dodgers. He'll probably win there because he is a typical buttoned-up Midwest. One thing about the Midwest is archaic as they play, that's where you get a bunch of really good coaches. I mean, they know how to coach the line of scrimmage. They're technical, very, very detail, skills-oriented. Saban, West Virginia / Midwest, Urban, Stoops, Tressel. We could go on and on. There's big-time coaches that come from there. Luke Fickell is at Cincinnati. That does nothing for you or me. He's a defensive-minded coach. I think he'll probably be pretty boring on offense, play great defense, get them sound at the line of scrimmage, beat most everybody because they have more talent than everybody. But if they open it up and look at, an innovative offensive-minded coach, then sky's the limit because that's a great job. LSU, I think Scott Woodward doesn't care. And I like that mentality. I think too many ADs are scared to be told no. And I think Woodward's like, whatever you want to report on The Athletic or ESPN or whatever is fine. Some of it could be accurate, some not. But if I want to offer 3 or 4 huge names, I'm going to offer them. I'm going to make them tell me no, or that they're not interested. Not even flirt and dance maybe all the way, down to the wire where a real offer is made. And, of course, Jimmy Sexton is going to get rich over the next 60 days. So, or richer, excuse me. And we know that. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. is brought to you by the New York Style Pizza at Sal and Mookie's in Madison, located between Kroger and Home Depot. Pizza lunch specials, quick, fast, Tuesday through Friday, but delicious local New York Style pizza.
The Out of Bounds Show podcast is brought to you by Kessler Prime. For the best steaks in Mississippi, visit Kessler Prime in the Renaissance.
All right, good morning. Welcome in. The Out of Bounds Show is driven by the Ram trucks, pre-owned and new. Mac Hike in Flowood. MacHikeFlowwood.com. MacHikeFlowwood.com if you're in the market for a truck or SUV, pre-owned or new. The Out of Bounds Show is driven by Mac Hike in Flowood, MacHikeFlowwood.com. 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app, and we welcome in Steve Palazzolo. And Steve joins us on the Bell's Two-Hearted Ale guest line. And we are going to start with Patrick Mahomes. All right, Steve, so the Chiefs are I thought that was all of a sudden something dropped. He must be going through Chick-fil-A. Do we have him? We'll get him in a second. All right, sounds good. We'll get Steve in a second. We'll talk Mahomes. We'll discuss some Dak. There are rumors out of Philadelphia that Gardner Minshew could get the start. Would love to see that. Brandon, Mississippi, Gardner Minshew. Jalen Hurts has been struggling. Gardner Minshew's a better quarterback. Be interesting to see what the Eagles decide to do the last couple of months of the season. And also, Blake's got to look up exactly where Minshew is with his contract. I think he may be able to do what he wants to do in the spring, which would be kind of cool. Can you imagine if the Denver Broncos had Gardner Minshew? Wow. All right. Steve Palazzolo, PFF.com, senior analyst, Pro Football Focus, and he joins us on the Out of Bounds Show. Steve, let's start with Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs are struggling. He's struggling. The offense is struggling. We know how talented he and Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy are, but let's see, 30 of his last 33 interceptions come without being blitzed. What do y'all see on tape as you watch Mahomes and the Chiefs, Steve?
Yeah, it's a weird year for Mahomes because the actual number of times he's put the ball in harm's way is not actually out of the ordinary for him. He had a ton of interception luck last year, but the times he's making these bad decisions, they're bad. You know, he had that play a couple weeks ago, dropped the fumble, or he dropped the snap, he picks it up, tries to throw it under pressure, terrible decision, pops up for an interception. At the same time, he's also hit Tyreek Hill in the hand that popped up for an interception. So there's been some good luck, some bad luck. I do think you're getting this element of the Chiefs' offense isn't explosive this year. So he's making these plays that he's always made outside the pocket and some riskier type of plays, but it's not with the payoff at the other end. Usually when he did that, it's like, oh, he got away with one, or it's okay because, you know, there'll be a 75-yarder in there to Tyreek. That hasn't been the case, especially since week one when they had that 75-yarder against the Browns. So the Chiefs aren't making the big plays. Mahomes probably pressing a little bit because teams are making him be patient, and he's losing his patience, forcing it a little bit too much, fumbling a couple times, inviting pressure. So it's a bit of a mess. It's not as bad as it seems. They're still an efficient offense, but the turnovers is a little bit of bad luck and a little bit of Mahomes probably trying to do too much right now.
So he's improvising too much, Steve?
Yeah, I think it's improvising a little bit too much. It's still forcing the ball when he's outside the pocket, and that stuff has worked in the past. I think he's also gotten away with a ton of those the last 3 years, and it's just not that he hasn't been careless with the ball, but when he's been careless with the ball the last couple of years, it hasn't really come back to bite. And it's like it's all coming back to bite right now this season for Mahomes. So I think he'll be better, but it's a rough stretch right now for the Chiefs.
Okay, so you do this all. I mean, you work with all the NFL teams. There's no magic pill to take one week and correct it all. but they're also the Chiefs and Mahomes and Andy Reid and everything else. So, tell me what you expect. Do they kind of slowly climb out of this, Steve, or are they able to flip this thing? And it's a circus and a high wire act. This coming weekend or next. How do you see this playing out?
I mean, I think it's going to depend who they're playing. It's going to be a tough one. It's tough because this week they get the Giants on Monday Night Football. It's going to feel like they solved their problems, and then they have the Packers the following week. Right? They've got the Cowboys coming up. They've got the Raiders twice. They've got a tough schedule, the Chiefs. So yeah, I mean, I think part of it is we've got this track record of really good Mahomes play. Andy Reid and Bieniemy being great play callers, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, they're still really good players with a good history. So you expect them to get better. But also, all that said, the defense needs to get better as well. I mean, the defense has been just a disaster. They can't stop anybody. So, yeah, I mean, they have to piece it together week by week and hope that they play to their capabilities, which is certainly much higher than what we've seen here through 7 weeks.
Are you ready to say that they will not win, that the Chiefs will not win their division?
No, I mean, we're 7 weeks in, and this is a little bit – I always compare the Chiefs to the Patriots dynasty just because they have the pieces and the elements, right? And they're kind of on their way. Not to say that it's going to last 20 years, but the Patriots had so many years where it looked like it was over, right? Let's write off the Patriots. They're done. They've run their course, and teams have caught up to them. Belichick's lost it, and how many times was that true? It wasn't true until year 20. And so I think the Chiefs are probably at that level of, high-end team where even when they're 3-4, and the Patriots, I don't think were ever 3-4 other than maybe 2002. They were never at this point, but they were at points where, they're 2-2 or, they're not leading the division by week 5 or 6 and people are doubting them or they get smoked on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs. But they seem to bounce back just because they're a better team. So I'm not ready to completely write things off in the Chiefs, but the AFC West, really competitive. So they have to start playing better, right away.
And, all right, so we're talking Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs with Steve Palazzolo, PFF.com. But there's a lot to do here, right, Steve? I mean, you got to get the defense right. You got to try to get the offensive line right. And you have to balance Mahomes and his unbelievable playmaking ability, but also maybe rein it in a little and not improvise too much. Am I going down the right path here?
No, you are. And so I would turn back the clock to this offseason. And if you look at the Chiefs team, and they've never had a bad offensive line with Patrick Mahomes. They've always had a good one. And then they had the Super Bowl where everybody was hurt. They had a makeshift line. They got crushed. And I think the Chiefs completely overreacted to that game. And then they spent the whole offseason just fixing their offensive line. And I think they got some good pieces. They spent a ton of money on Joe Thuney at left guard. They drafted Creed Humphrey, who's been a really good center. But the massive trade for Orlando Brown, giving up essentially a first-round pick for Orlando Brown, who they're going to have to pay in a year. They spent so much of their resources fixing the offensive line, which they needed to do, but it wasn't broken last year. They just happened to run into a stretch where guys got hurt and everything. And then that leaves extra hole. If you don't put resources toward the defense or toward a third playmaker to take the pressure off Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, this is sometimes what you get. It's like playing whack-a-mole with your roster. And they whack the offensive line, and these other moles are popping up, and it's the defense, it's the third playmaker, and I think that's part of the issue with the Chiefs.
Steve Palazzolo joining us on the Out of Bounds show, talking NFL QBs and the NFL. All right, Cowboys at the Vikings. So my man and the Cowboys get a week off. Now they travel up to Minneapolis. What do you see in this game between Dak and the Cowboys and the Vikings, Steve?
I think this could be a shootout. I mean, Cousins is playing really good football right now. Justin Jefferson is, to me, almost on his way to that Devontae Adams level at receiver, where it's how do you stop this guy? Adam Thielen's really good. So the Minnesota offense is playing well. We know Dallas's offense is playing well, maybe the best in the league, right up there. And, I think the Minnesota defense has played better in recent weeks, but it's not like you're not looking at that secondary like you did a couple of years ago where it's all right, they're tough to throw they're tough to throw on. I mean, Mike Zimmer's got a pretty good history. He's good on third down and all that stuff. But I think we're going to see a lot of points. I think we're going to see that, Cousins has continued to improve. I think we'll see a little bit of Cousins and Dak going head-to-head. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's one of the games of the weekend. And, Minnesota's trying to creep back into that playoff picture after a slow start. Dallas is trying to maintain their position close to the top in the really deep NFC. I think it's one of the best games of the week. We'll see a lot of points. We'll see some pretty good quarterback play and just good offense all around.
Okay. Out of bounds, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Steve Palazzolo on the Bell's Two-Hearted Ale guest line. Let's go to Philadelphia. There's a lot of chatter that Gardner Minshew could be the guy now. You like Gardner Minshew. Hurts is able to generate all these fantasy points in the fourth quarter because they're behind and because he can use his legs. But the bottom line is the Eagles are reconsidering. What have you heard, and what do you think if Minshew is inserted into the starting lineup as the QB? Steve?
Yeah, it's an interesting situation because I didn't have the highest expectations for Hurts this year, and he's kind of exceeded them, to be honest, because I was coming from, low expectations. I think and I know a lot of his production has come late in the game and garbage time and all that stuff, but he's shown some things in the passing game where he's at least been better this year than last year. I think from an Eagles standpoint, when you're looking for a quarterback, it does make sense to just exhaust all options. That's why trading for a Gardner Minshew is a smart move. And, it's probably worth a look just to see, okay, how does he fit in here? What can we do with him? Get more data points, as I always say. Just get more experience under his belt and see. I think Gardner was better as a rookie overall. He took a bit of a step back last year. I think let's see, how he fits into this offense, what they could build around him. It's a pass-first. I mean, honestly, the offense probably fits Gardner Minshew better, the way they're not really running the ball. They're spreading to throw. They're throwing on early downs. I can see Minshew having success there, even though the roster is not great. So I could see that. I would still want to see more from Jalen Hurts, though. I mean, we're only like 10 games into his career, 11 games into his career as a starter.
Fair enough.
So I think there's still more to see with Jalen Hurts, but Minshew would be interesting because the Eagles, they've got 3 potential top 10, top 12 picks next year, and I don't know, they might not have a quarterback that they really want in that group. I don't know how good the quarterback class is, so they do have to see maybe what they have in Minshew.
So Minshew, I think, Blake, will you check? I think Minshew will have the ability to maybe pick where he goes in the spring or whatever, late winter, early spring. What if Minshew? It looks like the Denver Broncos are pretty close, and it's proven that you can win with a pretty good NFL QB. What if you dropped Minshew with the Broncos, Steve?
Yeah, I don't know if Minshew's that much better than Teddy Bridgewater, to be honest. I'm not sure if it's a massive difference. I still want to see more because we only saw Minshew in a pretty, not a great situation in Jacksonville where he did elevate them. But there is probably a physical ceiling to Minshew. I mean, similar to maybe a Mac Jones physically, there's a ceiling there. So I don't know if there'd be a massive difference in, say, what Teddy Bridgewater's done in Denver, but there could be. I don't know if Denver's going to go and, to me, Denver's trying to hit a home run next time they're looking for a quarterback, much like Carolina. They've all tried to hit singles. I think they're all trying to hit a home run. Minshew feels more like a single or a double at this point, if that's where you're trying to invest.
Okay. What do you make of for a couple of years we talked about Sean McVay and Shanahan and maybe LaFleur a little bit, but some of the young guys around the league, innovative, da-da-da-da-da. And now all of a sudden people are looking at the body of work, I guess, post-Super Bowl, and it's not that good in San Francisco. And people are trying to figure out, hey, what direction are we going? Garoppolo, how long does Trey Lance need? What's happening here? What do you see with Kyle Shanahan? Do you think he's still on the road to maybe being special? Was he overhyped? What do we have with the San Francisco 49ers, Steve?
I think Shanahan is still special from an offensive standpoint, play calling and the whole thing. They have been, and I know other teams deal with injuries too, they have been absolutely ravaged by injuries. So last year having to every time Shanahan's trotted out Nick Mullins or C.J. Beathard or whatever, things haven't gone well. I'm not necessarily holding that against him. I do think Shanahan could do a better job from a game management standpoint, fourth down decisions, things like that. So I think he's still a great offensive coach that elevates those around him. We haven't seen, like, they handpicked Trey Lance. I mean, they may have handpicked Mac Jones and then strong-armed into Trey Lance, but either way, they picked him at third overall. So we still need to see what they do with Trey Lance. We've only seen that one start. So I think there's still more to see, not so much with Shanahan, but Shanahan plus Trey Lance, the guy that they went to go and get. It does seem like the Garoppolo deal has probably run its course in San Francisco. He just hasn't either gotten back to his 2019 level, hasn't really improved. It looks promising early on. But, I think Shanahan's still a good offensive coach. He's probably going to do a better job from a head coach standpoint, game management-wise. And I remain intrigued to see what he does with Trey Lance once they get him for multiple weeks here.
Okay. Joe Burow and Jamar Chase, LSU, Cincinnati Bengals. They're both wildly talented. It looks like Chase is going to be unbelievable if he stays healthy. This is LSU country too. What direction is this going? Where is this trending with what Burow and Chase and the Bengals could be the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, it looks really promising. I mean, I thought Burow was really good last year. The place that was lacking was throwing the ball down the field, and that was a little different. I mean, at LSU, he threw the ball down the field fine. And a lot of times if you look at QB stats and you look at their deep passing, those numbers tend to fluctuate a little bit because they're very dependent on the receiver. So then Jamar Chase shows up, and Burrow's already got more deep passing completions than he did last year, through 7 weeks here. I know he's hurt, but Burrow is very good, maneuvering the pocket, finding the open receiver, throwing the ball accurately. But Jamar Chase, like having a true number one wide receiver, which Jamar Chase clearly looks like he is just a force multiplier for the rest of the offense, right? I mean, they've had games where they've just been okay offensively, and then, oh, by the way, Jamar Chase is going to add a 50-yard touchdown for that. So that is a massive game changer, right, for the Bengals. And I like the other receivers that they have, too, T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. And every time people talk about, well, you got to protect your quarterback, and they think it's the offensive line. And you don't want to have a bad offensive line. Certainly you don't. But there is no better way to protect your quarterback than having an awesome receiver. And you see that in these games. I mean, there was a play earlier this year. The Bengals offensive line gets whooped, or at least one player does, in about 2 seconds. But it didn't matter because Burrow got rid of the ball. It was a deep pass, and he throws it up to Jamar Chase, and it's a 40-yard touchdown. Because it's an open receiver. Open receivers protect the quarterback. So it was a great decision by the Bengals going with Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell because receivers are game changers in today's NFL. And Burrow's a really good quarterback that's now getting elevated by a true number one receiver. And I think it's a good marriage, and I'm loving what I'm seeing here in my hometown of Cincinnati.
Steve Palazzolo, great podcast, Pro Football Focus, PFF.com, and he joins us on the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. The Titans. So Jeffrey Simmons and A.J. Brown are tied here. We have a bunch of Titans fans. Obviously, they looked great last week. First, before I get into, like, Tannehill and the offense and the defense, are you sold that Vrabel is on his way to becoming a really good NFL coach, Steve?
Yeah, I think the thing about coaching is you can't just look at the flash in the pan guy, right? I mean, it's the NFL. Teams adjust. It's not about one season. It's about sustaining success. And I think Vrabel is starting to show that he's just a good overall leader on the team. I think he's done a nice job as far as in-game management and decision making. And now he's done it in different ways. Right now they're 5-2, but they've lost a coordinator to a head coaching job. How do you fix that? Right? How do you maintain success there? Those are the challenges I think he's starting to run into, and he's doing a good job. So yeah, I think he's on his way. Like, it's tough to find good, consistent coaching, and I think Vrabel's passing a lot of those tests early in his career here.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, I'm pretty impressed. I mean, they got blown out by the Cardinals, and then they've gotten their act together and played really good football. The next 6 or 7 weeks, as difficult as this league is, I'm pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, me too. And look, the last 2 weeks, they beat the Bills on Monday Night Football, came back on a short week, and gave the Chiefs their biggest loss with Mahomes as the starting quarterback. And that is really impressive. And they easily could have had a massive letdown off the Monday Night Football game, and they did it.
Sure.
So I think all that's adding. Now, we'll see this week. I think the Colts are dangerous, but loving the way the Titans are trending right now. And they're doing it without great players on the defensive side. I mean, if you look at the players that are contributing in their secondary, Greg Mabin and Dane Cruikshank, who's a special teamer, that's what they did last. Those are the guys that played last week and held the Chiefs to 3. That's really impressive given, the talent there.
And when y'all were in your Pro Football Focus headquarters and y'all were watching Mahomes get lit up, when he got lit up from behind and then Jeffrey Simmons, cleaned him up, were there a bunch of oohs and ahs in the room?
Yeah. I mean, it's 4th and 18 and the game's over and Mahomes is, still trying to save it and make plays and the whole thing. It's like, all right, just stay healthy and get to next week. He passed concussion protocol, but I was a little surprised he got popped. But good to see that he's healthy. But yeah, Mahomes has got to avoid taking those hits.
All right, real quick, Steve. Tonight, Packers-Cardinals. These are two great. Well, Aaron's been great. Kyler is now in the process of being great. Two fun playmaking QBs who can do a little bit of everything. What do you see tonight?
Yeah, Kyler's taken a huge step forward in the intermediate level passing. That's that 10 to 19-yard level. That is why he's an MVP candidate, because he was one of the worst in the league throwing to that area the last couple of years. He's second in our grades this year. So Murray's rounding out his game. Packers are depleted by COVID. Devontae Adams, Alan Lazard out, others, defensive coordinator, Joe Barry's out. So I like the Cardinals here. It would have been a much better game if the Packers were at full strength, so we'll see. But could be one of those games where it's like superhuman Aaron Rodgers throwing to Randall Cobb and rookie, Rodgers, and we'll see. But I like the way the Cardinals are trending. At some point, I think their defense regresses a little bit. I'm not sure if tonight's the night, though, for the Cardinals.
All right, Packers at the Cardinals tonight for Thursday night football. And Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus, PFF.com, on the Out of Bounds show. Have a great weekend, Steve. Thanks, dude.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it.
The Out of Bounds show is driven by your next Ram truck, pre-owned and new at Mac Hike in Flowood, MacHikeFlowood.com. The show is also presented by Superior Foundation. For all your foundation repairs, Superior Foundation. And the show is brought to you by Went McGee, the Mortgage Man, MortgageManMS.com. We'll have Dave Bar 2 at 9:30. Show me the money. Show me the money. Powered by the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook. We'll do a deep dive into Ole Miss and Auburn. Right? Peel back the layers and the numbers. Ole Miss, Auburn, Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Florida, Georgia. And Blake's game of the week. Missouri and Vanderbilt. The Jefferson Pilot Special. Neither team has beat a Power 5 team. So I don't know which side you're going to load up on. But you've got Mizzou and Vandy. And those two teams are 2 of 5 teams that haven't beat a Power 5 team in the Power 5. I think I have that right. Blake dropped that in the first hour. The show is brought to you by the Spray and Bedliners, Lift Kits, Tires, and Wheels, Rick's Pro Truck, and their new location in Gluckstadt. Rick's Pro Truck.